TIFU by being too lazy to eat. Yesterday instead of today. Monday morning rolled around, and I had the house to myself, so I lazed away the morning in bed. No breakfast, no lunch, and I didn't even drink water because I couldn't be bothered to get up. Finally, around 2 p.m., I decided to go to the movies, so I rolled out of bed, put on my shoes, and left in my pajamas, which were basically an old, stained t-shirt and shorts. While in the subway, I started to feel a bit weird, kind of nauseated and a bit faint. I realized my blood pressure was probably dropping since I hadn't eaten anything in about 15 hours. I thought about stopping at one of those food stands in the subway, but I remembered there was a restaurant right by the movie theater that I loved and decided to eat there instead of wasting money on food from the stand. So, I got out of the subway and started crossing the 6-lane avenue to get to the movies. Right in the middle of the crosswalk, I felt the world drop from under my feet as I was hit by cold sweat, feeling so sick that I thought I was going to throw up, so I instinctively stopped and tried to lean on my knees. That didn't happen. The next thing I knew, I was on my back with a dozen people around me, looking worried. Cars were honking. I was so nauseated that I couldn't stand up on my own. People had to carry me to the sidewalk and then into a little restaurant, where the owner, one of the helpers, asked if they should call an ambulance. I could barely talk without feeling like throwing up, so I just shook my head and muttered something about blood pressure. They had me lying down with my feet on a chair for a few minutes, sipping water with sugar that the restaurant owner gave me. By the time I was finally feeling less terrible, they asked again if I was okay. One thing about me is that I tend to cry under strong emotions, happiness, sadness, whatever. In this case, I was so mortified that as soon as my body allowed it, I burst into tears. I was still feeling nauseated from the low blood pressure, which combined with my crying made any attempt at coherent speech hopeless, but after a few tries, I finally managed to say something like, "I didn't eat anything since last night." Now to paint the picture, a sick-looking girl crying that she hadn't eaten since last night, wearing stained, ragged clothes and sneakers. People looked sympathetic. The restaurant owner disappeared back to his kitchen. Once I calmed down, he reappeared with a plate full of food and a glass of juice that he put in front of me, saying it was on the house. When I tried to say there was no need, he insisted and pressed a $20 bill into my hand. The people who stuck around also started giving me money. It was around this time I realized they all thought I was a kid down on my luck, struggling to get by. If before I wanted to disappear, now I wished the ground would swallow me whole. Even more mortified, I went back to crying while trying to give the money back, but I didn't want to explain that this all happened because I was too lazy to eat properly and these were my usual stay-at-home clothes. So they probably thought I was just being prideful. They all insisted I keep the money, and after a few pats on the back, they left. The owner told me to take my time to recover and asked again if I needed an ambulance. I replied no, before going back to work, leaving me with a full plate and around $80 in my hand. I didn't know what else to do, so I ate the food and left after thanking the owner again. I didn't watch the movie, as I wouldn't be able to bear it if anyone saw me walk into the theater after all that. So, I went back home and gave the money to a homeless lady I saw on the way because I didn't think I'd be able to use it anyway. Moral of the story: eat breakfast, kids.
If you liked this video, make sure you hit the like button and comment down below your thoughts. Also don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos like this.